like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Long as I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. Sports Coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, 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 Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like Elf. I thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube Live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your shame for the championship. Bucking on Tampa, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy, then you probably smell the crooked referees or Roger Goodell. Yeah, fucking like this, and I'm a who that. Every day I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, 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 Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
It's got a lot of questions, so let's go ahead and fire away.
Dennis, getting Tyrann back first, what does it mean to have him back? What kind of spirits does he seem to be?
Yeah, look, I love having him back. It was great to see him last night. Got in last night. Had a chance to visit with him at the hotel. Seems to be in really good spirits. He's anxious to kind of get back here and get started. We'll go through a little bit of a ramp-up period with him, kind of let him get his feet up under him. But, man, to have a player of his, decorated ability back in the building is a positive.
Is what he missed problematic, would you say, at this point, or not?
I wouldn't say so. He's a veteran player. When you really want to talk about what we're doing defensively from a schematic standpoint, it's not a lot different than what you're going to see in a lot of the other teams. Really, it gets more down to just terminology and just some of the minor little adjustments that we might make. So I feel like he'll get back in the swing of things there, and it won't take long. It's more about just getting him ready for football conditioning.
Yeah, obviously you want practice to be spirited, competitive, but when it goes a little bit too far, do you have to kind of?
Yeah, we don't have time for that. And so I sent 2 guys in today, and we got to get our work done. So we got to learn as a team how to compete and how to play and how to practice, all right, and push ourselves to the limit, but yet not take it over the edge.
Push ourselves to the limit.
It's going to happen with everybody. It happened
edge.
with the team out here. It'll happen with those 2 players, sometime between now and the next practice.
Mike Thomas getting a little more work today?
It was awesome. It was awesome. Seeing him, get a few routes, actually go up against a defender. I thought he looked good in the plays that he got. I was excited about seeing that. And I think it's another step in the right direction.
Is he the kind of guy you have to hold back? Is he wanted to be doing more than?
Well, here's what I would say is we've had a lot of communication with Mike, and we've kind of, with his input, we've kind of laid out a plan of what we want to do and how we want to go about getting him ready, and Mike's been totally on board with the plan, and so I think with Mike is when you explain to him what you're looking for, and he feels like you're listening to what he has to say. I think he responds well to that, and he's been outstanding.
I'm sorry, would it be right to say maybe that he could do more, but you're just being extra careful?
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily go there. Look, I think he's in a good spot. I think we want to continue to ramp him up. There's a process that this goes through, and at some point before we get to the regular season, we're going to see him in full speed team activities. We have a plan for how that's going to go. Obviously, we have to monitor how he's feeling as we go through that plan, but I feel good about where he's at and the progress that he's made.
Big ups to the fam. Appreciate y'all joining me for this late edition of the Sports Coma. Much love to the fam. Had computer issues. My camera's down right now. I'm still working on it, but more than likely I'll return tomorrow with a longer stream. But tonight we'll cover a couple of news notes and items for the Coma. Shout out to the fam for the stream. Big ups to the fam. Dennis Allen dropping the scoop. And of course, to comment on the Mike Thomas thing, of course there'll be a ramp up period. We know that, and we said that. There's no need to throw Michael Thomas in there and just be having him going full bore at some things. Now you got to be able to, after him being out that year last year and then he having a setback, you want to kind of take your time getting him back into shape. So the Saints are handling it the correct way. So shout out to DA and the rest of the camp for doing that.
Dennis, can you say any reason why Ramchek's not getting a lot of teamwork right now?
Yeah, it's just more of a trying to a little bit more of a maintenance plan. We've got a few of those guys that we've got a little bit of a plan with that we're trying to limit some of the snaps that they're getting. But I feel good about where he's at and what he's doing when he's out here. So it's all part of the plan.
Coach, non-X's and O's question with the Weather Channel. Explain some of the strategy with the guys practicing indoors versus outside versus outdoors. I noticed you balanced that throughout the training camp schedule. Just talk about some of the impact that has on some of the guys.
Well, number one, you guys are the reason why we came in yesterday because of the weather. So that's why we came in yesterday. Our plans were to be outside, and our plans are to be outside the rest of the week, depending on what the weather is. And so, yeah, I think there's an element to getting out in the environment and having to push yourself through the heat because it's a challenge. But there's also something to having guys being able to recover and being able to get them freshened up and kind of protect them a little bit. So it's all kind of a balancing act. We'll see where we go. If you guys can hold the weather off for us tomorrow, we'll be back outside.
Blaming us for the weather. With Trevor a couple of days ago, you said that his feistiness wasn't really a problem. What was it, could you say, that changed today?
Appreciate you, Bishop. Bishop One Love. Shout out for the cash app, my brother. Thank you.
In
Appreciate
about the
you.
third day in a row in practice, and people begin to get a little bit tired, and things get a little bit more chippy. It's not unusual for something like that to occur in a training camp. Certainly something that we don't want to see happen, and it'll be addressed, and we'll move forward.
Indeed. The thing about Penning is, you study film on Penning. We knew this was one of the things that the Saints was looking for, and they had several offensive linemen. The Saints could have really moved up if they wanted to get whatever particular lineman that they wanted, but remember they had various mock drafts and information connecting the Saints and Penning throughout the process. And really the Saints' first round picks went just like most Saint family mock drafts did. I know I did a mock draft with Chris Olave and Penning coming, and you were a seer and could be considered a warlock or a witch if you picked Alontae Taylor with the second round pick. But I digress. Dealing with what he's talking about with the Penning thing is, yeah, you love the aggressiveness. Yeah, you know that. But we knew Penning had that toughness, that mean streak. We wanted that. And the Saints, for them to peer into and say Penning is the type of guy we want. You want a nasty, athletic offensive lineman. Well, he's just bringing that along with the whole package. Now, if you watch the film on him, he talks about his hand placement. And listen, he's gonna get, he's gonna be a pretty good offensive lineman for the Saints now and into the future. And I think the Saints have some of the best offensive line staff to kind of coach him up and get him there. But I think the key to with Penning is he has to control that edge. And he's a rookie, so you expect these type of things to happen, because let me just put it to you like this. If you're a football player and you've been on the team for a couple of years, and have a rookie come on there and the rookie smashing you down and throwing you, you're not going to do that. But the thing is, like, you've seen it with the lesser known defensive ends. And then of course what happened with Malcolm Roach is not going to let nobody play with him like that. But what that does is that just fires the camp up and make it even more that lively, because the offensive line has to develop an identity. What is the identity of the Saints offensive line now that Tyrann Armstead is out of the way? Eric McCoy is a somber, hardworking brother that keeps his head down. Andrus Pete's another dude that's a hard worker, often injured, but you know, they have these mean streaks, but they're not known to be visual dominant players. You know what I'm saying? But Penning is a guy that wears that on his sleeve. Even if you look at Ryan Ramczyk early on, Ryan Ramczyk is a quiet mauler and one of the best offensive linemen in the business, but he won't talk to you. He'll go out there, the silent assassin, and just handle you 8 ways from Tuesday. But Penning is a young guy, and he has to figure that out, and he eventually will figure that out. You know, I heard what Hurst was saying about him. Eventually he will figure that out. So, yeah, you can't get into it to the point where you're missing practice because that's stunting your development. So let's finish up on DA here.
How do y'all decide, because the competition, obviously behind Alvin at running back, the reps or the touches, like for instance, the first preseason game against the Texans, whether it's Abram Smith, Tony Jones Jr., Malcolm Brown, you know, Zigbo, whatever. How do y'all decide, okay, this is your game, because you only played 3 preseason games, but how do you decide a quarter or
well, yeah. So look, again, it's all part of the process. We'll sit down as a staff and we'll talk about, you know, who we want to see, how much we want to see. There's a lot that really goes into it, you know, in terms of making those decisions. But it's really kind of a, you know, I'd say kind of an organizational or coaching staff decision that we sit down and communicate with that a lot and figure out how we want to address that.
Any updates on Smoke Monday?
No updates. He's got a significant knee injury, so that's all I'll say on that.
It's a week in the camp. Is the competition and intensity?
Shout out to Smoke Monday, man.
I like where it's at. I really do. Again, look, we took it over the top a little bit today, but our guys are out here competing, you know, extremely hard, and it's been fairly clean, you know, in terms of the execution. There's certainly still a lot of things that we got to clean up and we got to fix, but I'm pleased with what I've seen so far. But look, we got a long way to go.
Indeed, Saints in day 7th of the camp, and of course, there's still a lot of work to be done, as DA astutely mentions. There's still a lot of football to be played during this the training camp into the preseason, ultimately into the regular season, and it's going to be even like and I have to vote. This is probably the most active offseason for the black and gold that I've seen in some time. Getting a new coach and named a new head coach after years of having Coach Payton here. The stuff that happened with AK, the stuff that happened with Jameis, meaning with him and Deshaun Watson, the stuff that, you know, and then, of course, all the stuff around the draft, the quiet offseason. And then the draft happens, solid draft. And then, of course, it comes around with the undrafted situation. We knew we were going to get some guys. And then, bam, days after the draft is over with, the Saints signed Tyrann Mathieu. Days later, or maybe a week or so later, they got Jarvis Landry. And that kind of set off everything, let you know the Saints are for real in this thing. They're not taking no shorts here. So, yeah, this is very interesting, man, for the Saints. So a lot of people didn't see the vantage point of the Saints, except for the Who Dat Nation. When anytime you add a Tyrann Mathieu or a Jarvis Landry to your club, you're going to be doing some stuff. So, I mean, that, you know, and this is just what we have to deal with, man, with other people who can't see that vision. You just have to start beating the hell out of them on the football field, and then ultimately they'll understand what you're talking about. So shout out to Who Dat Nation. Appreciate y'all for joining us. And like I've always been saying for some time now, welcome. You're now rocking with the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys, where we have intense, entertaining, educating, and enlightening sport talk from your favorite sports family. I'm Big Q. I'm in the building. Much love to the fam. Appreciate each and every last one of y'all for being in the stream. Big ups to the fam on this late edition of the Coma. Kevin, big ups to Kevin Conley, Linda King, Teal. My dog Teal is in the building. Josh Goat 23, Marj Avion, BR Fitted 225, Eugene. What's happening, fam? Mary 504, Denard's in the building as well. Big shout out, Young City Night Ward, Pick It and Flick It. That OG brother Jerry's in the building. What's up there, OG? Who else we got? I think I shout out brother Eric as well. Bishop, thank you, fam. Appreciate you for being here as well. Shout out to you, brother Maul. What's up, Maul? Much love to you, fam. Appreciate you for stepping in on the show. What's up, Ryan? Shout out to you, fam. Edward, how you doing, brother? Shout out to you. All right, and the rest of T Dirty. What's up, T Dirty? Shout out to my dog T Dirty out there chilling. O'Cooler is in the building. What's up, O'Cooler? Trey, what's up, Trey? Much love, fam. Appreciate you. Brother Thomas is in the building as well. Tevin, I see you, fam. Much love. Shout out to you as well, brother. Appreciate all y'all for joining me for this late edition. What's up, Trevan? Who that to you, fam? Jamie, Coach Tab. What's up, Queen? Much love. Appreciate you. What's up, King? King C3's in the building as well. What's up, fam? Appreciate you stopping by on the Coma, man. What's up, Demi? What? Much love to you as well. Shout out to the Queens and the Kings of the Coma. We in this thing. What's up, B-Mac? B-Mac's in the building. What's up, B-Mac? Shout out, fam. We're going to cover some stuff, fam. We ain't going to hold you too long, fam, up in this one, man. But anyway, we're going to get to a couple of observations right here. And this was provided by NewOrleansSaints.com. And I think two of the biggest stories outside of the Tyrann Mathieu returning to camp situation. And of course, you had what happened. What's up, brother Travis? Who that to you, fam? Damien, what's up, brother? Good to see you in the chat, fam. So, you know, the Trevor Penning against Malcolm Roach thing that occurred. And, you know, you can expect that because stuff like that happens during camp. Every camp, to be honest with you. Now, sometimes it gets a little heated where the whole team gets involved and guys got to be thrown out for them to cool off, and then they return and come back to do it. What's up, Gundam? Who that to you, fam? Appreciate you. And it's just more of the same, man, as competition, man. So let's get into it from NewOrleansSaints.com. The Badger is back. Relax. And this is what they're saying, relax. Say we were relaxing, man. What you talking about? We're not hair on fire family members, man. We cool, calm, and collected. We know what time it is, man. When people going through stuff, you gotta allow them to chill. A lot of people, oh no, Tyrann, the honey badger. Nah, chill out with that, bro. They're people, they have problems. Sometimes they gotta dip and handle these situations and come back, man. That's just how it goes sometimes. But the honey badger did make its return as expected. What's up, Jordan? Shout out to Jordan as well. Kevin, what's up, Kelvin? Who that to you, fam? Good to see you there as well. Shout out, bro. All right, and after a week of free agent signing, former LSU Tiger safety Tyrann Mathieu missing Saints training camp due to personal reasons behind his family. The honey badger was on the practice field with his teammates inside of the training facility wearing his white number 32 jersey and gold football pants. Now, Mathieu participated in every rap and walked through an individual drill, sitting out of the team proportion of the practice, then returning back to the sideline wearing a baseball cap, conversing with the teammates, and they'll ramp him up too. Now, Coach Dennis Allen did mention that he back up in the physical sense and get his feet up under him before he goes full speed. Bottom line is Tyrann Mathieu returns is already to an already stout defense. Remember, he's a quick learner, so the Saints will take their time with Tyrann Mathieu. But Tyrann Mathieu is a quick learner, man. You know, very instinctive, very intelligent football player, bro. He knows what he's doing out there. Veteran presence will make it more difficult to compete against opposing offenses to compete against him. And we talked about not only Tyrann Mathieu, but Marcus May. The intelligence level is upgraded severely in the defense, and particularly the secondary, when you added Honey Badger and when you add Marcus May to those units. When he's finally able to kind of come back off of whatever suspension he's probably going to be issued due to that DUI. So we'll see. Hayabusa, what's up, fam? Shout out to you, man. Good to see you in the chat. All right, so yeah, this is a good part of the thing right here with him coming back, and shout out to that brother, man, going through the stuff. But good to have the honey badger back. Have absolutely no issues with the honey badger taking that time out to handle business with his family. Also, not really, and not like I said, if you've seen enough of the honey badger from the various stops that he goes through, he picks up stuff very fast. And a lot of people are very psyched about the combination of Marcus May and Tyrann Mathieu back there. They're both so interchangeable. They can disguise the coverage. I've spoken on this a number of times, and they will make it hell. I mean, literal hell on opposing offenses, especially some of the lesser intelligent quarterbacks in it. You got 30-something odd quarterbacks in the business, and half of them the Saints are going to make look ridiculous. The Saints are going to, bait these chumps, and it's going to be a lot going on, man. This defense, you thinking it was great this last year. Wait till those guys finally get their legs up under them and their minds fixated, and watch how this stuff going to go. All right, brother Jerry, what's up, bro? He says, exactly, BQ, I said the same thing. Yeah, oh yeah, bro, you got to do it. You got to do it. All right, what's up, Travis? He said, did we sign Bo Scarborough? I didn't hear about signing Bo Scarborough, bro. I'm gonna have to take a gander at it in a little bit, but I didn't hear anything about Bo Scarborough signing that big D. I didn't hear anything about that, my friend. Hold on, let me look that up right quick because that's intriguing. Oh man, I thought that guy was gonna be a wildebeest for people, you know, but he really, I think what hurt kind of derailed his career is the fact that he was dealing with injuries. So no, I don't think it's nothing to that's a no on Bull Scarborough, my friend. I'm gonna do some more research as I keep looking though. We're gonna see. All right, so anyway, next thing, wide receivers versus DBs, one of the best drills you can watch during all training camp, and you have to wait a few practices to get there. And the one with the receivers I was seeing them last camp is the wide receiver defensive back drills. Love those. Wrap after. Hold on here, fam. Let me get this off here. Guys competing at every single play to come up with a catch or make a defensive pass. Break up some intriguing matchups today were Chris Olave versus rookie Alante Taylor. That's a good matchup. Each splitting a win in their two early battles. Marquez Callaway made a rare catch against Paulson Adebo on the out route. Adebo then would blanket Olave, another rep, and force an incompletion. Traquan Smith caught a 35-yard touchdown pass from Jameis, getting separation from Taylor. Then finally, Kirk Merritt appeared to have Adebo beat down the right sideline for a touchdown, but that throw was a hair underthrown, and Paulson was able to knock it away at the 5-yard line. Now, a true and entertaining portion of the practice. Always good to see those camp battles right there. And of course, the play of the day, pretty simple. On this one, the first 3 plays of the team portion of practice were rushing attempts. First was running back AK-41 on the stretch play out to the left, and he was ran out of bounds after a minimal gain. Play 2 was a run up the middle by Tony Jones Jr., stuffed by defensive end Carl Granderson. Play 3 was a simple handoff to Kamara off the right guard. The hole opened up, and then bam, boom. Off he went to the open field, and secondary would have gone for a long touchdown or at least a big gain. So with so much attention being on the receivers during the camp, it's always refreshing to know you can always get AK-41 involved in the run or pass every time the man touches the ball. He's a threat to take it home. There ain't no doubt about it. And that's the great thing about knowing about AK-41 when he's there. Ultimately, hopefully, we know that his next court date will be the 29th. So having him on the field is always a plus for the Saints offense. And eventually, if things do happen where he'll miss time, we'll just have to deal with it, man. But how things are shaking up, you never know what the hell going on, man, in there. And of course, let me see if I can pull up some footage right here of, let me see if I can pull up some stuff right here from, for Penning. And this is some of the stuff. Now, they don't have any footage of the play in which Penning was stuffing. This is like a reel of him going at, who is this? Peyton Turner the other day. And yeah, he gets in scraps and scrapes because he's physical. He's a physical player. And, he's trying to make a name for himself, And of course, some of the things that he was doing, and I broke this down on TSC Q&A live the other day. We did a little film study. And we just show how athletic he is. If anything, you can't appreciate his effort. And he takes everything personal. I think that's one of the things that you notice right here. Because watch, Peyton Turner fires out of the gate, right? And it's just watch let me see if I can slow this down right here. Watch the feet to get in front of Peyton Turner, man. Watch just a little something. Now look, he fires off. Look at Peyton Turner. Gets right on his shoulder where he's supposed to do, but he was able to get there, look, and just was able to kind of ham him up and kind of stonewall him. And as Peyton Turner knows the play is broken down, what Penning does is watch. Penning got him wrapped up with his jersey. Now look, he's about to go, he pursues it, and Penning just grabs. He grabs and holds him to stops him from retreating. And Peyton Turner didn't find that amusing. And of course that's what Penning does. And I'll see. This is a plus and a minus. Now I can appreciate what Penning is doing in his taking it personal approach, but he has to. This is not college, dude. You're gonna have to clean. You're gonna have to get a grasp of yourself and play with some control, because that'll end up hurting the team. And besides, like, even if it's training camp, he has to do a better job of keeping his hands small, like keeping them inside and out of away from the outer rims of the shoulder area, because that's the referees will hit you with that flag. So you got to learn to keep his hands inside there and be careful on the retreating players and grabbing them. Now watch this play. As you can see, Penning, it's just the astuteness right here. Watch on the play where the play starts off. This is the JT Gray circumstance on this next one after the Peyton Turner thing. Now as Penning is watch. He fires off. He's blocking 54. He leaves 54, say he's blocking, takes on a defensive back, walks him down, not only stays with him, but then pushes him out of the play, continues to push him until the whistle blows. And then, of course, JT Gray gave him a little pushback. I'm going after JT Gray. Look, and JT Gray turned into a jackrabbit and started backing his ass up. You could have swear that ball was listening to Juvenile back that ass up the way he got away from Penning. Boy, he got the backing it up. Look, watch this. Watch, he gonna push Penning. And Penning's a big boy. He pushes him, and look, JT Gray, back that thing up. Well, look at him. He's still backing up. The ball, you ask that ball right now, that ball is still backing up right now to this day. But see, Penning is a physical player with a lot of athletic gifts. He has to watch that. Now, watch this. This is a player right here that was beating Penning a couple of days ago in camp. He was beating him. And Penning, look what he does here. Now, as you can see, he gets in front of him, and you can see he places his mitts on the outside of his shoulder pads. That'll get you a flag. That'll get you a flag big time. Flag City, yellow flag city, doing that kind of stuff. But this is training camp, and that's something that Zach Strief and the rest of the offensive line coaches got to get Penning hip to the game. Is like he's locked his shoulders, like he got each shoulder pad locked. You can see his mitts on it. And he kind of stays in front of him, and he walks him. And look, he just mauls him, pushes him, and then ultimately grabs him and throws him into the ground. Now, they don't have any footage. I was looking for footage on what happened with Malcolm Roach. There was no footage, and I'm pretty sure somebody got something, so it might come out sooner or later or what the hell happened. But if there is any out there, I didn't see it. But anyway, the pros and cons of Penning's film is very alluring because you can see a big guy that's athletically gifted, has wonderful feet, really good feet, standing, and great strength too. You know what I'm saying? And a good concept to understand what he got to do. Gets out of the stands very fluid. His footwork looks pretty good. He's very strong. I think one of the things Penning has to work on is that, like I said, that is one of the things that made him a very popular choice at the as a first round pick, is that they love his nastiness. He's definitely a nasty offensive lineman, and he ain't taking no crap. You know, and also remember, he's a rookie and he's trying to make a name for himself. So they're going to have to get that thing under control because you don't want him to be a guy that draws penalties either. So although it's still training camp, and I think Pate Turner and them kind of thinking it's all right. But yeah, I just love some of this film here. Some stuff I love, some of the stuff he needs to work on. But look at him getting to JT Gray, man. The defensive back. You know, most of the big offensive linemen are not as fluid or as fast to keep up with defensive backs, but he just marches them down, keeps a hand on them, and look, right there. JT Gray got the hell out the way. Yeah, that's the term. JT Gray got the hell out the way. Penning was coming for him too. Oh man. So anyway, man, that's some of the stuff we seen right there from Penning. And of course, this was some of the stuff we seen from the Honey Badger. If you hadn't seen the footage on the Honey Badger at camp, you can see that he's back there. But so it's really good to see him. And look at that, man. That number 32 looked good on him, man. You talking about, man, this was a great call. And you can see Marcus May right there participating in the drill with Teron Armstead. And man, I just love the Saints' new safeties, man. I love the depth. I love what they're doing. And Tyrann Mathieu be brung up to speed. Marcus May looks pretty good. Justin Evans in camp looks really good, fam. We talked about him being an X factor. And, you know, several Saints defensive backs look really good. Shout out to Smoke Monday with that harsh injury to his knee. Bryce Thompson is a player to help out. PJ Williams can play the position. So can Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. Not much on Sorensen yet in terms of it. They're not saying anything positive or negative about Sorensen, but, you know, he's mostly there for special teams work. But the Honey Badger, man, definitely makes the Saints defense outer-worldly, man. Being back there, you can see that old handshake coordinator back there, number 26 there. So, shout out. All right, so fam, shout out. What's up, fam? Appreciate you and good to see you. Brother Gundam say, wow, didn't know that Big Q having hands on the outside. You can get good. Yeah, you can see that's the part of the game, bro. Gundam is you can't it's all about hand placement. Like, and you will catch them talking about it when they start talking about, how to block a guy. And most of those coaches will teach you, listen, do it if you can get away with it, for real, right? So like, if, say for instance, like they don't want you to do nothing illegal, but at the same time, like if you're gonna get beat, like they'll tell you this, if you know that you about to get beat, or the guy got ahead of you, grab the guy, grab him, and you know what I'm saying, and pass interference him. We'll eat the flag, but you don't want to let the guy run past you and then he gets a touchdown. You know what I'm saying? A flag is better than a touchdown, allowing that team to score a touchdown. So of course the defensive coach will teach his defensive backs, listen, the proper technique to stay in front of his wide receivers, or to do what they got to do there, to read them and know which direction they're going, or misdirect them or whatever. But at the same time, if they get broken down, then grab the guy. Don't let them catch a touchdown. We'll eat the flag. We won't be mad at you. It's better to get the flag than allow the guy to score a touchdown on you. So when you're talking about offensive linemen, it's always good to place hands inside there. Why? Because it is out of the eye vision of the referees. Now, if you see Penning, like I showed you that footage with him grabbing the guy's shoulder, that's very visible, and they will flag you for that. So, and you're gonna see him. He has to get those hands inside and keep them inside as much as he possibly can. And when players retreat from you, you gotta be careful not to damage the play or get a penalty by grabbing a retreating player, because they'll hit you with that too. As you can see, that's why Peyton Turner got heated with him, because when he blocked Peyton Turner and did a hell of a job on it, and then Turner retreated to follow where the ball went, then Penning proceeded to grab him to prevent him, grabbed him with his his hand across the jersey while he's retreating, and that's Peyton Turner then spun around, slapped his hand off with the left hand, and that's when they proceeded to get in that little mini fracas. So yeah, you gotta watch out with the hand placement, man. And I think he spoke about it. He's like, yeah, man, I gotta make sure that stuff with my hands, that kind of stuff. But yeah, that's the kind of little tricks of the trade right there. You want to be able to avoid that, man. Shout out. All right, so yeah, Damon says Lil one kind of remind me of the man. Yeah, yeah, the big boy. All right, yeah. All right, the only concern I have is with Penning needs to dial it back just a bit. Jordan, okay, thank you, Jordan. Shout out to you, fam. Appreciate you that. He might have to dial it back a lot, bro, to be quite honest with you, because Penning he's a guy that plays with that passion, that determination. And we call it passion, but it's a fine line too, because he takes pleasure. You could tell he plays like this all the time. He takes pleasure in doing the extra stuff. See, you got to be careful of the little extra stuff. Now, see, he's blocking right here. See, he's blocking, blocking. Now, watch the extra stuff. This, the little extra stuff after you got him out of the way. Okay, you defeated the guy, you got him beat, and then you give him a little extra. Like, watch this. This is some of the extra stuff. Like, now he pushing him and then pushes him again. After he heard the whistle blow, after that, he just keeps pushing him out of play. And that's why JT Gray got sore. That's also why he got his ass backed up. But, it's the extra stuff. You got to watch out for the extra stuff, because the extra stuff will get you in trouble in the NFL. All right, let's move on to the next article, fam, and check out this one here by Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, limited participation in training camp while seeking a new contract. Now, is this news? Not really news. Remember, family, we talked about this before, and this was made. We covered this when Chauncey Gardner-Johnson was on there talking, and he got up there and he started talking about them calling him, I'm the diss man. I'm the, and I'm not getting my respect. They not respecting me, and people don't see me as the best nickelback in the game and all that. Remember that? That was, I don't know how many shows ago. We do so many shows. But toward the back end of that interview, when he was spilling out and doing like his kind of expressing himself and really frustration, he did mention in that interview that, that they don't want to talk about a contract. He did say that they don't want to talk about a contract. He made that little snide about that. Now, we know this is his final year on his rookie contract deal, and Chauncey Gardner-Johnson is a very good defensive back, and one of the best, if not the best, nickelback in the business is Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, aka Mr. C.D. Deuce. So when the Saints took Alontae Taylor with the second round pick, a lot of people were scratching their head saying, wow, what's going on here? At the time, we kind of felt up in our minds that, perhaps down the line before the trade deadline comes around, maybe they then spouse out and trade a guy like Roby to another team for picks or whatever. They reworked his contract. You never know. But at the same time, you're looking at Chauncey Gardner, you're saying, okay, with Eric McCoy and Chauncey Gardner-Johnson coming up, McCoy is a guy that they want to keep. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, they drafted a guy with the second round pick. And that puts a target on Chauncey's back insofar as Alontae Taylor, where does he play? He's not going to unseat a guy like Paulson Adebo, in my opinion. Laddie Daddy, hell no. Paulson Adebo, I think, has that spot and will not turn it loose. And Alontae Taylor, when Dennis Allen drafted him, was seeing him more as a safety/defensive back. And I'm saying safety/defensive back just like Chauncey Gardner-Johnson is. So when he was picked up and the Saints kind of took their little time before they signed Alontae Taylor, remember he was the last of the Saints draft picks to get signed. I mean, way last. Everybody got signed. He was sitting there. He went through the little mini camp unsigned, and then ultimately the Saints got him under contract prior to going into the training camp. So what does this mean to Chauncey Gardner-Johnson? You can't keep everybody. So is this the case where Alontae Taylor has a step in where Chauncey Gardner-Johnson is? Well, you can see some frustration. You've seen some frustration from Chauncey during that interview. So him limited his participation in training camp while seeking a new contract. Remember the mini thing happened with Deontay Harty, where he signed his chicken tender, the $9 million chicken tender. He wanted a contract extension as well, and the Saints was like, let's see what goes on here. So a lot of people say, Q, we're going to get Chauncey back. Remember, you can't sign everybody. Mickey Loomis can make that thing shake and wonder, but listen, if Alontae Taylor's here, and then you got Adebo, and you just read up with Laddie Daddy for multiple years. Adebo's still in the second year of his rookie contract. He's not going nowhere. You get Alontae Taylor with a second round draft pick under his rookie contract, and then you look at Chauncey Gardner-Johnson like, okay, you're gonna break him bread, make him the highest paid nickel back in the game. Is that what we're gonna do? Then of course we would think, okay, he has safety applications with with Mathieu here and Marcus May both signed on 3-year deals. What does that mean to Chauncey Gardner-Johnson playing the safety position? Only thing I can say is we're gonna see how it shakes. A young city Night Ward say, pay the man. We shall see, fam. I mean, I'm good with having a great defense, but we'll see what's going on, man. That's an interesting predicament to have when you take a safety, a defensive back, as they call him, who could play corner and safety in his words, his words being Dennis Allen's words, which is the same thing Chauncey Gardner-Johnson plays. Where's that going to be? How's that going to work? So anyway, let's get into it. He's in the 4th and final year of his contract with the Black and Gold. This is coming by way of our friends at Canal Street Chronicle. According to multiple sources, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson is limiting his participation in training camp practices as he seeks a new contract with the team. CD Deuce is entering his 4th and final year under contract with the Saints. According to Duncan of NOLA.com, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson stayed away from the Saints' voluntary OTAs early this year for the same reason. As of now, there's been no news of any discussion between the Saints and Chauncey Gardner-Johnson about an extension, but he is not the only player the team will have to address negotiations soon. The Saints have a long list of key players that are set to become free agents after the 2022 season. Eric McCoy, Marquez Callaway, David Onyemata, Ingram, and Deontay Harty. Anyone who follows Chauncey Gardner-Johnson knows that there's no doubt he loves playing with the Saints and their family. Regardless, regularly interacting with them on social media, the exuberant defensive back has been a vital part of the Saints secondary since joining the team back in 2019. And in his 3 seasons with the Saints, Chauncey had 28 passes defense, 5 picks, and 3 sacks, 1 forced fumble, and 1 fumble return. Let's hope a new deal gets worked out prior to the start of the season so there's no distractions and CJ can get back to what he does best. Be sure to stay tuned with the paper to make sure they keep you up on the scoop. And the Sports Coma, of course, will cover it. So, yes, a lot of people say sign the man, but like I told you, this is how football works, man. When you bring in guys, you drafting guys high. Now it'd be a little different if you took a guy like Alontae Taylor in the 5th or 6th round. Then you'd be like, yeah, but it has a lot to do with where these guys are selected at, because the higher the picks, meaning the 3rd, 4th, 3rd, 2nd, and 1st round picks, the higher they are the more emphasis on that player to be a starter. Like when you are drafting in the draft, like the Saints had 2 first round draft picks this year, right? Both those first round picks, when they took them, they knew that these are picks where we want starters with these picks. So when they took Chris Olave and they took Trevor Penning, they said these 2 first round picks, these are starters here. We got openings right now at the wide receiver position. We need some help at. Chris Olave as a starter. We need help on the offensive line. Trevor Penning is that. Of course, they're going to create the narrative that he has to be able to compete with James Hurst for the job. But ultimately, we know what time it is in the NFL, especially when it comes down to picks. Now, how does that fare with a second round pick with Chauncey Gardner-Johnson at the back end of his contract? Do the Saints say, yeah, we're going to re-up with Chauncey and give him the type of deal? Now, what kind of deal would it be for Chauncey Gardner-Johnson? Don't really mean much because Mickey Loomis will flip the thing and make it very fair seeming for the Saints. But then again, what place will Alontae Taylor play in it with everybody else having their stuff? He can access a depth piece, yes. But eventually, I think the Saints want to see Alontae Taylor play. It's going to be interesting because I'm going to be watching the Chauncey Gardner-Johnson thing plays out. Now, another caveat to it, fam, is that Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, if he's limited participation in training camp, that doesn't favor and doesn't look good to Dennis Allen either, because even though they expect you to play, you're not supposed to be limiting anything. You're still under contract. Let's remember this. Let's remember this and be fair. That's all we're going to do here on the Sports Coma. Y'all know is what we do. We're going to keep it real and we're going to play it fair. You're under contract. You're under contract for the Saints. You're not under contract. You get what I'm saying? You're not under contract until this year ends and the season is over with. Then the league year changes over. Then you are officially a free agent or whatever. So my thing is, you're still under contract. How are you self-limiting your participation to force the Saints to the table when they're not interested in talking right now? That's not saying that they won't come to the table. My thing is, has there been a situation where we've had a defensive back to force the Saints to the table, right? To force the Saints to the table to talk about a contract renegotiation by limiting what he's doing in practice. So if you're limiting you're self-limiting yourself in practice, what you're doing is you're giving more reps to the guy to replace you, which is Alontae Taylor. You see what I'm saying here? So, I mean, that's frowned upon. So, that's like, okay, you're under contract. We're paying you right now. You don't limit yourself. You go all out. And then you show up and then bam, at the end of the year, you will see what we're working with right here. So this is how they're going to handle it. And we're going to see how it goes, man. But I'm just saying, at the end of the day, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson won his money, but is this the correct way to go about getting it, as opposed to just going out there and showing them what time it is and stop looking at people to name you the best nickelback in the business? You already know what it is. Stop looking for people to put labels on you, bro. You know what time it is. Just go out and do your thing, and all else will be taken care of. So we're gonna see how it all registers out. But man, it's very intriguing, man. But I don't remember too often a defensive back that did this type of stratagem and forced the Saints to the table. You remember, like I said, he's a big part of the Saints defense because he's a nickel back and he does a lot of stuff for him. But listen, man, they drafted a guy and they drafted that guy for a reason. There's always a reason behind some of these draft picks, especially the ones that go high. They got a plan for them. And this one kind of clear to see to me. If Chauncey Gardner-Johnson's on the last year of his contract and the Saints take a guy that at his position, at that slot position, that can play safety or defensive back, a cornerback, a nickelback, they got a guy like that. So he ain't Chauncey, but we're going to see how the Saints handle it, man. All right, Brother Melvin says, quick question, Q. You rather Marcus Davenport or Chauncey Gardner-Johnson? Marcus Davenport, man, is that's another one. Good question, Melvin. And let me tell you something, bro. Marcus Davenport have a replacement in Peyton Turner, that the Saints picked up after him because he couldn't stay healthy. That's another thing too. So in my estimation, man, I would rather go with Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, obviously, because Chauncey Gardner-Johnson is more readily available than said Marcus Davenport. Even though Davenport had probably one of his best seasons as a Saint, he had 9 sacks last year, quiet 9 in the limited amount of action that he did play. So up until this point, reliable and available player is Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. And oddly enough, both players have replacements or guys that's behind them that can replace them if injuries occur or if the Saints decide to go in a different direction. So Davenport's very interesting, man. And but yes, if I'm forced to take between those two players, Melvin, obviously I'm gonna take Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, bro. Shout out. All right, Damon says BQ, but you don't think the guy trying to get his deal done now? Yeah, but the Saints already said that he said that. Chauncey said that. You're going to force him to the table by limiting your participation in practice. I mean, I mean, the way the team looks at it is you're under contract. Let's just play, and then we'll get to a certain point, we'll address it. That's not saying the Saints won't come to the table later on in the season. Right now, they just focused on getting the team situated, bringing guys in, and turning out a good product on the field where they get the winning. And of course, I think down in the season later on, when all that's out of the way, they've known down the season to start opening up new renegotiations and talking to guys and ultimately signing them. You know what I'm saying? Like, think about it like this. Remember a couple of years ago when Alvin Kamara was, trying to get something done there. And, and it was, he was talking about, he was in the building. He was doing a lot of weird stuff. And ultimately the Saints had negotiations with him. Now, remember, he got signed before the first game of that year. Remember that? And the Saints went all the way out. Matter of fact, they paused negotiations with Alvin Kamara to go out to Houston to go and meet with, what's his name? Jadeveon Clowney. The Saints were trying to get Jadeveon Clowney. And they went out to Houston. They froze Kamara's negotiation to go negotiate with Jadeveon Clowney to make him a Saint, but it didn't work out. They came back, and then they read up with Alvin Kamara, and then Demario Davis got through in there. Nobody knew they were coming. They were kind of working. They were talking to Demario Davis about giving him an extension too. They got done at the same time. But I digress. Alvin Kamara had a lot. He was in a different position. He had a lot of stuff going through him. He was the star back, and a big percentage of the team ran through him and what he was doing. So CD Deuce, do they see that value in CD Deuce like that to break him off and make him? Because remember, CD Deuce is going for the highest paid nickel money in the business. Is the Saints really to turn that over to him and make him that guy? A lot of people say yes, we are. We'll see, man. At the end of the day. All right, thank you, bro. Kevin says somebody will be gone. They will pay. He says they pay will go up for Hardy, Adebo, and a few others. Yeah, I mean, like I said, Mickey Loomis could do a lot, bro, but he, some things he can't do. And the Saints, some of these guys are not going to come back here, and make it back like we wanted, like I wanted. Think about it like this. I wanted, and people say, well, Q, we didn't really need Quan Alexander. And I'm like, what? Well, be mindful of what you're saying when you talk about you don't need a Quan Alexander, a plug-and-play player that plays like Demario Davis that would have played for you for $1.3 million. Less than half of what you paid him last year was $3 million. You paid him they paid him 1.2 or 1.3, whatever it was. And then he's plug and play. He's a guy that knows the system inside and out. He covers the linebacker, the tight ends. He covers wide receivers. He's a fierce tackler. He fits in with the culture of the team. No to him. So it's kind of weird. You can look at the mindset and say, oh, yeah, definitely the Saints are going to pick up on him. But you have a guy that you could have got. And no matter who you got, you could take all these guys, DeMarco Jackson, who they drafted in the draft, and take Andrew Dowell, Zach Bourne, Caden Ellis, and those guys, and put them in the ball and make a human, and they would not be able to be better. They wouldn't be better than what Quan Alexander was bringing to you. You see, but it's just the mindset and of the vision of the team moving ahead, and it might not just be Chauncey's production on the field. Maybe it's something off the field. I told you, them people be looking at all of that, man. They look at all of that stuff. They might want, it depends if they look at all of it. It's real weird how they look at stuff. But the Quan Alexander, we don't need Quan. Are you kidding me? Yeah, you need a Quan Alexander. You're not gonna miss. His value is not gonna get away. It's not about the young guys right now, and so far as the linebackers develop. No, you competing in the window right now with guys like Demario Davis and guys like Cam Jordan, Jameis Winston. These guys have a window in which the team has these guys under contract in which they're going to play. You need to get it done within that window of time. Not saying they won't develop, but they'll develop while these guys are here. And those type of guys like Aquan will not get in their way. He didn't get in their way last year. And then you have Pete Werner still making plays, doing this thing and all this kind of stuff. So they decided to go in a different direction with Quan. Who's to say they won't do that with Chauncey Gardner-Johnson? You know, who's to say, especially when they got a possible replacement second-round pick there for him. We see Davenport's replacement on the way and say, there's no way the Saints give that boy the kind of money he's looking for, and he can't even stay healthy. Peyton Turner, they just drafted him to play there. So I'm saying that sometimes you got to look at all that, and we'll just have to see what the Saints look like on the back end of that thing, man, to be honest with you. All right, let's move on to the next thing right here, fam. Let's get into the latest win-loss predictions for every NFL team. This is Ian Wharton from the Bleacher Report. As they, this is August 3rd report as they talking about wins and losses coming into this thing. Now they talk about all the 32 teams under training camp, and this is how it rolls. So starting it off with number 1, they got the Arizona Cardinals with Kyler Murray. I ain't gonna read through all this crap, but they got them 9-8. So 9-8 for Arizona. The Atlanta Falcons with their guys there, Desmond Ridder, whoever, they got them at 4-13. There you go, right there. Baltimore Ravens, Lamar Jackson, 10-7. The Buffalo Bills, with Josh Allen, 13-4. Carolina Panthers, right there, they got them at 7-10. Chicago Bears, how do they look? 4-13 for the Bears. The Bengals are 11-6 according to the reporter. Cleveland Browns are 10-7. The Cowboys are 9-8 according to him. The Broncos with Russell Wilson are 10-7. Detroit is 7-9 with Goff at the helm. Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers is 11-6. The Texans, they're at 4-13. The Colts with Matty Icy Hot there is 12-5. They're giving a lot of love to the Colts. Jaguars are there, and they're 7-10. The Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes boys is 10-7 according to this. Las Vegas is 9-8. The Chargers are 11-6. The Rams are 11-6. The Dolphins are 10-7. They're giving a lot of love to the Dolphins too, man. Remember, you still got a new head coach. Flores is not there. You don't know how this McDaniel kid gonna do. So I don't see how they're just doing that. But Minnesota is there. They got them at 10-7. The Patriots with Bill Belichick are 8-9. And of course, Joe Black and Gold. We're gonna read the whole thing before we get to the stat portion. The New Orleans Saints quarterback Jameis Winston, one of the NFL's biggest X factors heading into the 2022 NFL season. The Saints dipped their toes into the Deshaun Watson trade market before resigning Jameis Winston. The veteran is recovering from a torn ACL, but he played well in the 7 games he started for the Saints in 21. The Saints beefed up their offensive line around Winston this offseason. First round receiver Chris Olave and left tackle Trevor Penning figured to be impact starters on day 1. New Orleans may not get a bigger boost than the return of star wide receiver Michael can't guard Mike Thomas, who returned to practice last week after dealing with ankle injuries. And the Saints will need Winston and Thomas to stay healthy this season, as the star running back Elvin Kamara could be facing a 6-game suspension after being charged with felony battery in February. We know we'll have him up until September the 29th, so we'll get a few games out of him. If Winston can continue to avoid turnovers at a career low rate, the Saints might be sleeping powerhouse in the NFC. New Orleans new head coach Dennis Allen will need to produce another elite defense. The Saints finished 4th in points allowed, 7 in yards allowed last season. They allowed the fewest yards per carry. They need to continue with that as the defensive backbone. And of course, the Saints are tied with the Raiders for the 7th toughest strength of schedule, but they have their identity and a ton of talent on that roster. They'll be back in the playoffs this year at 11-6. So a very fair assessment, as I said. They say Saints winning no less than 11 games. If Jameis Winston is healthy and you keeping him upright, fam, there is no reason in the world that the Saints shouldn't win at least 11 games. If he's upright and healthy, and you got wide receivers Chris Olave, you got Jarvis, you got Michael Thomas running around there. Eventually get Elvin Kamara. The Saints have enough running backs in their stable to kind of steady the boat until Elvin comes back off, or whenever it happens. 11-6 is a good conservative mark for the Saints there as well. So yeah, I definitely see that. And yes, he's right. The Saints are a sleeping powerhouse team only because people are not doing their homework and they disrespect Jameis Winston. So that's a big part of this whole dynamic too. So a little positive news right there, as we always talk about all of the stupidity we hear from these guys all the time. It's good to see they finally got this right. All right, so let's do a quick recap, family, as we covered some of the stuff that happened at training camp, and here's a few photos for the family members. We talked about some of the stuff that happened at training camp today, a few notes and items. We also talk about the fact that Trevor Penning got into it. Michael Thomas did his thing in camp today. Tyrann Mathieu, the Honey Badger, was able to make it back out there to practice for the team. So good to see that brother back out there. We also covered the Chauncey Gardner-Johnson limiting his participation in camp, seeking a new contract. We'll see how that turns out as well. We also goes over the latest win-loss total records between the rest of the teams in the NFL, as the Saints are listed at 11-6, and they actually did a pretty fair assessment of breaking this thing now. Also, we covered this one here. Talk about Smoke Monday. Saints wide receiver Quan Baker, and this happened up there. We covered this on TSC Q&A Live, that he was suspended for 6 games for violating policy on performance enhancing substance. So this is a kick in the you-know-what for Quan Baker, and this simply allows Kevin White to hang around a little more than what we wanted them to. So this is not a good look for Quan Baker. So he'll be suspended 6 games for violating and on performance enhancing substance. And I want to say that I was reading a tweet that I don't know, they were thinking that he might appeal this suspension. So Quan Baker very could appeal this suspension. So we just have to keep an eye out on it and see what goes over. And of course, we talking about the signing of this is delivered by Luke Johnson, that the Saints signing of Chris Herndon is official because they waived Brandon Dillon. Remember, they picked up that Brandon Dillon tight end. It's one of the tight end maneuvers that they were making. We wanted them to bring in more of an established veteran. They did do that in Chris Herndon, and they released Brandon Dillon in a corresponding move to go with that. As Herndon wore number 86 in practice, and that number belonged to Dillon. So you give me that jersey on your way out, Playboy. That's how it went down. And of course, the big talk about Penning is being a bully out there with the Saints and doing his thing. That's another thing. So, all right. So with that being said, fam, we're gonna get ready to dirk out on that. Yeah, that's a good call. Brother Jerry says 13-4. All right. Damon says, quick question, Q. I heard Kowalski Baker is suspended. No, he said Quan Baker is suspended and not helping him at all if true. No, it's not. That allows him. We just, like I said, I didn't see your question until now, but yeah, that is not helping him. You know, he's a 7th round draft pick the Saints picked up, and we expected Quan Baker to do something last year. But the crazy part about it is he's a 6 foot tall, six foot wide receiver. He has good speed, man. Solid tape on running. He just hadn't got an opportunity to kind of show what he can do yet because you had other guys buried. But when you stuff like this happen, guys behind him will get plenty of opportunities to kind of step up, and it's not a good look for him. So, you know, Quan just got to get this stuff right, man, and play clean, man. You got to play clean. But then again, like I said, there's no word on whether or not he'll appeal the suspension, because that is something that he can do. We'll see. All right. So anyway, Laura says Jameis will ball this year. Who that? Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. It's just a crazy world we live in where it's a lot of bias. Like, even if I didn't like the Atlanta Falcons or the Carolina Panthers, I'm gonna keep it a buck and say something positive about their squad if I see something like it's players on the Carolina Panthers squad that I like a lot. I really do. I like DJ Moore. I like Christian McCaffrey. I like Robbie Anderson. You know, I like several players on their team. Terrace Marshall is another guy. He's an LSU guy there, and there's a couple of LSU guys on their team. J.C. Horns on that squad. So there's a lot of really good players that's on that team that I like from college and stuff like that. So yeah, you know, depending on how they use them. But yeah, I'm going to be fair with my assessment about you. But just some of these reporters, man, they don't do the same thing. They do very little research, if any, and they just catapult you into the ground. All right, Ryan said, let the media sleep on us and Wednesday play our best football. Right, I agree with you, fam. I agree with you. No doubt about it. No, that you're absolutely right. Let them sleep on us. They'll wake up sooner or later, man. They're going to wake up sooner or later when the Saints start piling on them wins. And like we said, we started the season off, man, the schedule with the NFC South. A lot of these teams trying to find out who they are. They got a lot of new personnel right there. And the Saints coming in this thing like bullies. And the only thing that can stop us is us. So, like I said, we got footage on the Saints operating with the offensive line. That's a big thing to see what the development of how far along we can get Penning in this. Cesar Ruiz, Andres Pete, and all these guys have to remain healthy and step up their level of play and create an identity on the offense and go from there, man. That's the best thing we can do. All right. Shout out, Hoodie. Much love, man. All right. No, I appreciate you stopping by, brother. Official Young Nola, what's up, fam? Appreciate you, brother Travis. Yeah, shout out to you as well, man. In the Groove, I see you. Colorado, shout out to you. Tragic, shout out to you, fam. Appreciate y'all for being in the stream. Well, anyway, fam, that's gonna do it for this installment of the Coma. Much shout out, much love to you guys. Appreciate y'all joining me for a late stream. Had to drop some science with the fam, talk with the fam, and I'll be back Thursday when I get my equipment. I had a few snafus with my camera and stuff like that, but I wouldn't like that. I ain't gonna let that stop me from talking to the fam. So with that being said, please feel free to hit upon the like button, hit the share button. If you're not a subscriber, hit the subscribe button, and also feel free to check out the link tree that's affixed in the description section for all our merch, for all our contact information, all that websites, all that is available in the link tree. So nice and organized in the description section. Get all the latest merch, that new Unshakable Fate shirt from Jameis in big sizes, hats, all kind of stuff, man. We got tons of gear there in the merch. Several different merch stores are available there as well. So with that being said, I'm going to pop out on that. Much love to the fam. Thank y'all for joining me tonight. And I'm going to holler at y'all later. Who that to you?
Yeah. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Long as I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. Sports Coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, 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 Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like Elf. I thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube Live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your chain for the championship. Bucking on town, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy, then you probably smell the crooked referees or Roger Goodell. Yeah, bugging like this, and I'm a who that. Every day I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, 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 Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.